even remembered up until recently, been over 2.5, almost 3 years. She made a video recently on free speech and censorship, and today we're gonna respond to it.
Yeah, why not? Why not respond to every fucking thing from somebody that you don't know and that fucking owned you last time?
Hey guys, so today I thought I would discuss censorship. Ooh, big topic.
Yes, free speech and censorship is a massive topic.
Why would you respond to that? What the fuck? You like edited this video to the point that you are just responding to every point, trying to find something, but at this point you are actually agreeing with her. So what's the fucking problem here, moron? Also, why are you getting so angry? It's a fucking video on YouTube. Chill the fuck out.
One that I'm a very large advocate of, and I'm very, very passionate about. I'm a big advocate for free speech and no censorship.
It's been everywhere recently.
I mean, every loser says that, but what does it mean to you? Just nothing. Coming from you, it just sounds like something any dumb loser on YouTube would say, so it doesn't really hold any merits.
From PewDiePie to the LGBT things to Milo and to my personal life, where I will, on occasion, block a lad. Truthfully, I don't really block as many people anymore, but why not? Why not? Sometimes you just wanna. The thing is, this feels like the most obvious video I've ever had to make, but somehow people just aren't getting it. So here we are. Let's start with PewDiePie and Milo. I am not trying to paint them with the same brush because nope, different people, different situations. But
you're right that they're different people, different situations, but in terms of people wanting them off of YouTube, wanting them not to have a channel, not wanting them to have any ability to speak or make YouTube videos, it's kind of the same. The same people whining about PewDiePie making a Nazi joke
are you like actually responding to her or what? Because this is like totally off topic here.
The same people who are literally destroying property at universities because Milo's speaking at a university that they don't want him to speak at, so they destroy public property, thus keeping him so
what are you talking about?
the situations do have
What the fuck? What is he talking about? What the fuck? What does that have to do with anything? Didn't that happen a year ago or longer? Who fucking still talks about that and why? How does it relate to this stupid video? What does it have to do with this? I'm so confused.
So we're gonna discuss that.
Is he retarded?
Made some anti-Semitic jokes, which I just don't like as a sentence in 2017, but that's just me. And Milo has been consistently awful for a very long time. A lot of people are saying that them being denied book deals and TV shows and public speaking positions is an attack on free speech, which, spoiler, it isn't.
It is an...
No, it's not. You cannot force somebody... Hold on. So these people, alright, so this is the free speech world that Mr. Repzion lives in. So you have to force companies to abide to book deals with people because that's free speech. That's literally what he's advocating here. How long does he talk about this? What? How could you possibly justify what you just said?
Public speaking positions is an attack on
hold on, let's
which I just don't like as a sentence in 2017, but that's just me. And Milo has been consistently awful for a very long time. A lot of people are saying that them being denied book deals and TV shows and public speaking positions is an attack on free speech, which, spoiler, it isn't.
It is an attack on free speech if you claim that you are for free speech and then you don't hold to, well, your stance on free speech.
What? So in Mr. Repzion's world, we do have to force ourselves to sign book deals with random people that we don't want to work with. That's freedom of speech, apparently. I don't see how that's free. That doesn't sound very free to me. Sounds like somebody's controlling me, doesn't it?
A lot of people like you, Fiona, don't understand is that free speech protects hate speech. Free speech, the Constitution, the First Amendment...
Nobody says you can't, you fucking loser!
It is a fundamental right. It is ingrained in our culture for several hundred years. The Constitution was designed to protect unpopular...
You know, when I think often about the Founding Fathers, I do think about how they are just around a table talking about, you know, fucking losers on YouTube with a chicken haircut and how they wouldn't be able to get book deals because they keep, like, harassing people or some shit like that. I'm pretty sure that's what they're covering under freedom of speech. And I'm sure that's what it is. Not the freedom of the press or anything like that. No, fuck that. Fuck that. Not freedom of religion. Nothing like that. No freedom from persecution. It's, hey, the big issue here is, hey, if you're a marketing guy, you know, you have to give me a book deal. I mean, I don't care if you know me or not, but I do have freedom of speech. So you do have to give me a book deal, even though you don't know me and don't want to work with me. Because that's how freedom of speech works.
Speech. It doesn't matter if you agree with it or not. There's a lot of things that I do not agree with Milo.
In what fucking world do you advertise on something that you don't agree with? In what fucking mindset do you have to be to suggest that? How retarded are you? What kind of retarded look is he giving me right now, too?
Oh man, I'm really saying something stupid this time. Better see your face.
But I will always defend his fundamental right to be able to voice his opinion and speak at a college or a university if that college or university wants him to speak. But a lot of people also don't seem to understand.
What if they don't want him to speak? Then what?
Well, about my freedom of speech, that's what.
Understand is that when a college accepts public money from people who pay their taxes like me and you, that college university becomes an institution. That institution cannot discriminate based upon people's personal beliefs. Milo had a book deal. That book company that had that deal with him said that they value free speech, they value an exchange of ideas, but that was soon proven wrong when they pulled their book deal. And of course, if they want to give money to somebody and they don't want to give money to somebody, that's their prerogative. If they don't want to
Then what the fuck are you talking about?
money to somebody who has a certain stance on the issue, they don't have to do that. I get that. In the same way, advertisers don't need to if advertisers don't want to advertise on my YouTube videos because I talk about why I am against capital punishment or for capital punishment, those advertisers don't need to put ads on my videos. That's within their right to do so. But again, you had a book company that claims that they're for free speech. We have reached a scary point where colleges and universities no longer care about the exchange of ideas, but they only care about one side of the narrative. And personally, I think colleges and universities should be sharing two sides of the narrative, two sides of the coin, because that's what education is about.
Okay, before you go on another spastic rant there, buddy. Oh, dear Lord. Okay, so how do I kind of go over that stupid shit that you just went over where you just invalidated yourself? I think what you're trying to refer here to is that you actually think that, and I'm not sure why we're talking about Milo here. I'm totally lost in this scenario. But somebody offered him a book deal and then took it back once he was acting like a retard. And you say that's something to do with freedom of speech, even though it doesn't. Now, this book company, I'm going off your words here, apparently has said before that they are for free speech. What you're actually looking for there, the word you're looking for, is hypocrisy. That's not freedom of speech. So once again, you're retarded. Please, just shut the fuck up.
Exchanging ideas and perspectives that oppose one another so people can decide and be educated. That's the whole purpose of an education. If you're growing up being taught one thing and one thing only, I grew up being taught one thing and one thing only, and that was creationism and religion. I was never taught the other side. I never was taught the exchange of ideas and how there's things that conflict.
In school, you were taught about religion and creationism? No. I think that we have some kind of guidelines because we don't teach two sides of, you know, the whole fucking Nazi thing. They don't teach in school about how,
Well, you know, it could be wrong because there's some people online that says that it's all a hypocrisy and Jews rule the world, so that never actually happened.
you know, there's a reason they don't do that. It's because it's fucking retarded. If there's no merits to what's being presented, then there's no reason to teach it. That's just garbage.
And contradict what I believe and why I might be wrong on an issue. If
You
education
can do
is
that
not
yourself,
about
bud.
exchanging of ideas at schools
Stop
and
being
universities,
lazy.
what the fuck are these universities and colleges doing? They are doing a disservice to the educational system in the United States of America, and my money, my taxes are going towards nothing except a school that only wants to teach one side. And if a school only teaches one side, it's not a school, it's a cult. It's a flawed educational institution that doesn't care about education.
Did you even go to college?
It cares
what are
about
you talking
itself.
about?
And thankfully, not a whole...
First off, you don't have to go to college at all. And to any particular one, you don't. You have your choices on them. And also, God, you get to choose your classes there? So, I'm not sure what he's even talking about. Like, are you talking about history of the world? Two sides to that? Like, what are we talking about here? What is he going on about? If this is about some stupid speaking thing at a public event that the university is holding, I don't know what that has to do with anything. There's 1,000,000,001 reasons why somebody would just cancel that shit. You know stuff gets canceled all the time, right?
A lot of universities and schools have done that yet in the United States of America. We have a few, but there's still a lot of universities that really are open to the exchange of ideas and value free speech. And to the few universities that still do that and are holding to that...
The ones that I wholly agree with and that,
Oh, I'm sorry. Might want to turn that down.
You know, the ones that just agree with me and bow down to my will and, you know, will market with me and tweet at me, those are the ones that are cool. You know, those 2 or 3 out there like DeVry University.
Value, I commend you. You are incredible.
The thing about free speech is that it's
You know what you could also do? If you believe in this and you really value those kinds of things, and there's apparently some universities out there that do exactly what you want them to do and nobody else does, you can actually support them. You know, you can volunteer, you can give them money, pledges, you know, they ask for that a lot. You can attend their universities, promote them on your YouTube channel. There's 1,000,001 things to do in that regard. The one thing I wouldn't suggest, though, is keeping completely quiet on it for hella long years and then only bringing it up when you're talking about some random YouTuber online and you can't even name what university you're thinking of when they agree with your points and they promote free speech. So that would probably be the most lazy way of making a change. But it is you, and you are retarded, so I do see why you don't do that.
actually just about what you can say. But also, on that note, in a lot of countries, free speech actually excludes hate speech, but we're not going to get into that. Free speech protects your right to say what you want, but it doesn't entitle you to be able to speak at a university or have your own TV show. Free speech doesn't entitle you to be paid to say certain things, it just means that you won't get arrested for saying them. For example, right now, I could say, Trump is a bit of a dick. If that statement caused me to face legal ramifications, then yes, that is an attack on free speech. But if Trump University or any place doesn't want to pay me to say that, that's fine. That's not an attack on free speech.
I'm just gonna post this here.
What the? I don't see any part of what she just said that you could respond to or that anybody could respond to.
Free speech does protect hate speech, you idiot.
Except, like, it actually doesn't in every other country.
Yep, Americans need to learn that their precious constitution, which most of them don't understand anyway, doesn't apply the world over. And it's true, Fiona. I don't know why you're attempting to talk about an issue where you clearly don't understand how America is unique in the sense where it does protect speech that is unpopular.
Oh my.
She just said that. Let's go back here to the fucking video clip that you responded to.
We're not going to get into that. Free speech protects your right to say what you want, but it doesn't entitle you to be able to speak at a university or have your own TV show. Free speech doesn't entitle you to be paid to say certain things, it just means that you won't get arrested for saying them.
How do you miss that? How do you miss that? You're retarded. You are literally retarded. And also this comment is retarded. Free speech in America, it doesn't mean you're going to get arrested for saying hate speech. Correct. She never said anything different from what you just said. The only time she mentioned hate speech was that in some other countries, hate speech is illegal or not covered under free speech. But then she said that's besides the point, so we won't get into it. This moron here I guess, can't listen or process information. I have no clue why this is even brought up. What is wrong with you people? There's definitely a problem with the education system. Right here, this is a great example.
And it's true, Fiona. I don't know why you're attempting to talk about an issue where you clearly don't understand how America is unique in the sense where it does protect speech that is unpopular.
Oh, my arms are so long. Oh, they never end. Disney and Maker Studios dropping PewDiePie doesn't mean that they're against free speech. It just means that they don't want to be actively supporting somebody who says things that don't align with their views.
It actually had nothing to do with aligning with their views. It had to do with a journalist literally going to the...
No, it did. It actually did. If you... Now, Repzion, I want you to say in this video, you believe that Disney wants to be represented by an individual that is spewing out crazy things like whatever he posted about that Jew thing. I don't care if it's, you know, tasteful or not, or what you think about it. Disney does not want to be associated with that because you know what their demographic is. You know what their brand and marketing is geared towards, being family friendly. Yes. Do you think that PewDiePie is family friendly? Do you think that parents are going to look at him and what he does and the things that he posted in that video that made this shit go down and say,
Oh yeah, that seems like a good deal. Yeah, that's some good family fun right there. Yeah.
no, they're not going to say that. So, you don't have a point. You're literally wrong. There's no other way to interpret this. I'm just going to skip past your part because you are just going to talk about some stupid shit where you blame somebody else for PewDiePie's actions. So, yeah, it's not really worth it. Besides, I mean, you don't listen to the point or the person that you're responding to in this video, so there's no point in us listening to you when it's just idiotic stuff with no merit, no thought put into it. You're just rambling.
To make an income off of that is a fight on free speech.
And that's fine. Say what you want, but if you make jokes about anti-Semitism, there might be some backlash. As an aside, as somebody who didn't watch Scare PewDiePie Season 1 and probably wouldn't have watched Scare PewDiePie Season 2, I do think it sucks that the show was cancelled because it wasn't just him who was punished, a lot of people worked on that show. Next up is blocking someone or even, gasp, reporting a video censorship. Again, nope, it isn't. My first brush with being accused of censorship was when I blocked somebody who was sending his audience after me.
Apologies, my camera died when I was filming this, and no, I didn't accuse you of being for censorship because you blocked me on Twitter. I don't care if you block me, anyone blocks me. I'm not gonna call someone anti-free speech because they blocked someone on Twitter. It's your own personal Twitter account. If you don't want to see somebody or you want to interact with somebody, that's your choice to do so. I see no problem with doing that. People were...
Apparently he has a problem with, companies and who they get to promote and pay. Apparently that's a problem, but people on Twitter who they follow or block, that's not a problem, even though he did have a problem with it.
saying that you're...
Also, she didn't even mention him. Why is he... I mean, I guess he knows that she's talking about him, but you make yourself look stupid because you know exactly what she's talking about.
Anti-free speech and for censorship is because you tweeted at me saying not to use the N-word in a quote because I was quoting my neighbors at the time. My neighbors were outside my door screaming the N-word at each other, N-I-G-G-A, calling each other, what's going on, nigga, nigga, nigga.
Oh, okay, so if you're going to if you're going to censor yourself, quote unquote censor, and you're just gonna say the N-word, and then you're actually going to say that word, why would you even bother? Like, why would you bother spelling it out or just saying N-word? Why do you actually say it then afterwards? That's dumb. You're retarded.
Nigga, 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 nigga. That's literally...
That is probably the best. I can see why people want to work with Repzion. Specifically this part right here. I'm sure somebody in a business suit working for a company trying to market their business using advertisement on YouTube, looking at Mr. Repzion's videos and saying, oh man, definitely want to work with this guy. He's pretty good guy.
All they did for like fucking 15 minutes straight. And I quoted them, in quotation marks, in my Twitter post, and then you come out of the blue, Miss White Girl, all of a sudden. Not that there's anything wrong with being white, but you seem to love the emphasis of white
If
people.
you're white,
Mr.
you're all right.
Repsion,
Well, that's
dude,
what I say.
you should always censor the N-word. Do I need to jog your memory exactly what you told me? Fiona, I have never sent an audience after you
the
or
fuck?
anyone. If I recall... No, I do recall. Very, very clear. I recall that I went out of my way to not even link your video in the description box, like I normally do with all videos. Because I had a little bit of empathy and sympathy. A very little smidge of empathy and sympathy. Obviously, that's changed now. Mr. Bones, stop. Jesus. Like, you want to talk about someone who probably will send people after you? It's probably Mr. Bones back there. He keeps saying, see you next Tuesday, over and over and over and over again when I'm trying to film this video. And I haven't called you a cunt once. But Mr. Bones over there...
Why would you? What is the point? You haven't argued against her at all. You've pretty much agreed with her throughout the video, even though you think you're not.
Oh! God damn it, the video buffering! Fuck me!
I hadn't blocked anyone before then. I remember when I blocked him, I was accused of censorship, and truthfully, I actually thought at the time that blocking him would block anybody who was mentioning his name because I didn't want to see any of the things that his audience was sending me. Oh no, she lives in an echo chamber. No, she just doesn't want death threats every half hour. The reason I blocked him is because I was going through a lot at the time and I had to deal with some certain things in my personal life, and so I was like, I'll block him now and then unblock him later when I have the time and like emotional capacity to deal with this. Is that a crime? No. Is it censorship? Also no. Because it boils down to the fact that not wanting to hear what somebody has to say isn't the same thing as censoring them.
Fiona, you're absolutely right. I 100% agree with you, except I have to ask you a valid question here. Do you support the people who go to universities and destroy public property and who make death threats and all these different
What?
threats to Milo when he is speaking at a
What?
university?
What are you talking about? What does this have to do with her on Twitter? Why?
Because a lot of the universities don't want to have Milo, not because of what he has to say, but because of the people, the protesters, although they're not I don't call them, they're not considered protesters to me. They attempt to vandalize the college itself. They will do anything they can to make sure that he is not allowed to speak when the university or the clubs have paid him to speak. But you're right in the sense that, you know, not wanting to hear what someone has to say is not censorship. But it becomes censorship when you try to silence someone from being able to speak their opinion, their perspective, their narrative that's differing from yours. That's an attack on free speech. That is censorship. Especially when they do illegal things to attempt to get him to shut up.
Say doesn't mean that every
So I guess with that logic, it would appear that Mr. Repsion is now agreeing that Anita Sarkeesian has been censored due to the indirect harassment and actions that people have taken on behalf of Mr. Repsion and people like him, his fans, to try and silence her. So it seems that he agrees then, and he is now against the harassment and understands that Anita Sarkeesian is being harassed constantly and is having her freedom of speech limited because of that, and that he contributes to it. So I can see from that he now understands that. So good on you, Mr. Repsion.
Everybody has to listen, especially because a lot of the time it isn't constructive criticism, it's just mindless hatred. At least that's been my experience. Additionally, is reporting a video censorship? And what if that video is taken down? When I had my experience with a channel much larger than me making a video about me, I tried to get it taken down. Oh, shock, horror. That's because I was receiving multiple death threats and rape threats every single day, probably every single hour.
I'll say it again for the 100th time, I do not condone or support anyone, whether they're a fan of mine or not, going out of their way to make death threats to you, to make, to go out of their way to say deplorable things like I want to rape you, whether it be rape, death, whatever, any type of physical threat to you. I will never support anybody who says that. However, to try to get my video removed because of what other people do doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially when I never linked your original video or used your name.
If you're just trying to protect yourself, we understand that, Repsion. You think you do nothing wrong. But when you look at what's actually happening and you see that this woman is being harassed It is from people who watch your videos. And while, sure, we can agree with you in saying that you did not tell them to do these things, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you did or not. Those people are still going out there and doing these things. They're still going out there and attacking this woman, threatening her. And so what's causing it? Well, if you hadn't have made a video on her, they would not have done that. So what would you assume is the cause of them going after her? Obviously, the logical conclusion would be your video. So indirectly, you are allowing people to do that. Now, I understand that you, obviously through this video, have some distorted view of what free speech is. And your response, if anybody would bring this up, is that you have freedom of speech, even though nobody is disagreeing with that. The problem people have is that you don't care about people's safety. When you see this link between you making a video on somebody and them getting harassed, and you think because you didn't put a link to their video, it's going to stop somebody from finding it, or you telling your fans in a Twitter post to not harass them is going to make a difference. It doesn't, because as you've shown and said, they still do it. They still go out and do it. So what mature people would do is to find a way, if they actually cared about somebody's safety, whether you like that person or not, and if you're a mature person, you would probably think about what your actions are causing on other people. And people tend to think about this when they are later in their life, I guess, or people that are more mature. Not a knock on you, but just people that have more experience in the world and can actually sit down and think about something without being hugely offended based off where somebody's stance is, like politically or whatever it is. Because that seems to blind you. You seem to not be able to think this through, that, hey, obviously I'm making a video and it causes people, it indirectly encourages people to go out and attack this person. I should probably think more about how I am using my influence on YouTube in a more positive way, so that it doesn't encourage people, directly or indirectly, to threaten others. And I would also, at this point, if I was you, think about what that says about your audience. If there are people that watch you, just because you make a video on somebody else and you disagree with them, right? And you even tell them, you don't link their video, and you tell them not to threaten this person, and they still go out and do it. At that point, would you not think that your audience might have a problem? Like maybe you're attracting people that are terrible? I mean, that's just my logical thinking going out there. I don't know. You try and correct it. Who knows?
Obviously that's changed now, because quite frankly, I don't give a shit. The sympathy and empathy card that I once had 2.5 years ago doesn't really exist now. Of course, I should say a public announcement: do not send this person death threats. Do not physically threaten this person to harm them. I do not support anybody who does that, who watches me or who doesn't watch me. Not that it's really gonna matter, because, you know, obviously I can control thousands of people on the internet, right? I can control what they individually write on their keyboards, because I have the power to do that.
Okay, if you don't have the power to control your audience, as you acknowledge right there, but you still acknowledge that they will go out and threaten people, wouldn't you think that you shouldn't make videos like this since your audience is terrible and they go out and threaten people? As a mature person, wouldn't you think that? I mean, knowing this in mind, it doesn't surprise me or anybody else that your videos would continue to get flagged for harassment due to these actions that you are describing yourself. I mean, I'm pretty sure that is the laziest logic. Like, it is so simple and out there. You know, it's not like I'm having to think about this. It's what you're directly telling me. So why can't you think that through? I mean, I understand you're in that little phase where you think like, fuck the world, blah, blah. But, I mean, you can't complain that people are saying, hey, your fans are sending me death threats, and then continue to do actions that encourage them to do so, whether it's directly or indirectly. And I can't really give you an answer on how to change this. Maybe I really can't think of anything to change. Besides, I think that your audience is just a terrible collection of people that they would do something like that. But I would think that you would at least try, since you seem to acknowledge that you have that influence on people. You don't have any control over them, but you acknowledge that you have that influence over them.
My mental health back then wasn't really great, and I was borderline suicidal before all that happened, so I just didn't want to hear how people wanted to kill me. People were going to extreme lengths to find my address so that they could hurt me, including paying my friends to hand over my address. Sidebar, shout out to the friends who took the money and then gave them the wrong address.
I find that a bit disturbing that you have friends who would willingly lie to someone and steal their money. You might want to rethink your friendships if that's the types of friends you're associating with.
Oh, okay. Why is he mad? What is he mad about? Why could you possibly get mad at somebody? This is like saying, hey, I held up a trap for a bunch of pedophiles to catch them, take their money, and then get them arrested. And then you're saying, wow, that's really dishonest. Yeah, I can't get behind that. That's really dishonest of you. Why would you do that? Because they're pedophiles and they're doing illegal things and hurting people and doing terrible, terrible things. Same concept. There are people out here paying to get somebody's address to harass them intensely. And you're fucking with those harassers. And you have a problem with not the people, not your fans that are paying to get people's addresses to harass them. But you're mad at the person that tricks them. Really? Why wouldn't you get mad at the people who are trying to harass them for being so gullible? I don't know. This is the saddest thing I've ever seen.
I don't know why your friends couldn't just say, no, I'm not going to give you this person's address, but no, I'm going to give you an address and lie to you and take their money. Like, morally and ethically, dude, that's fucked. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, it's morally fucked to take advantage of people who are fucking insane. And want to hurt others, right, you know. But you know what is okay is paying to get somebody's address. That's fine. I'm not going to condemn that, even though I acknowledge that's my audience doing that. No, that's fine. What's fucked up is that you're taking money from them. So that's kind of fucking just morally terrible.
Money from somebody is not okay, ever.
But it was a lot to handle.
But, you know, paying to get somebody's address is okay. Don't worry about that, guys.
And some of the hate was coming from his Twitter account, but the majority of the stuff that I was getting was stemming from this one video. So yeah, I tried to get it taken down. Color me an attacker of free speech.
Fiona, you're an attacker on free speech. Hopefully, you don't try to get this video taken down, but I should clarify. You were an attacker of free speech then. Are you still an attacker of free speech now? But all in all, I don't wish any ill will towards this individual. I just think that she's deeply incorrect and has no understanding of the Constitution in the United States of America, something...
She seems to have a great understanding of it. You seem to not be able to think or watch people's videos if they have a different political stance from you or any ideological differences with you. You can't think straight, and you automatically go to trying to find something to disagree with, even though you're not even disagreeing with them, because you can't comprehend what the video is saying, even though it's very basic stuff. I mean, if you were like 15 years old, okay, I could get it. You're kind of irrational at that point, like you're not thinking clearly, you're just jumping the gun. But you're what, like 22? I don't know how old you are, but I mean, you passed high school. You should be able to listen to a YouTube video and be able to comprehend what they're saying. It doesn't take a genius. And on that note...
Beats, holla at me.
That's all I got.